Good morning, dear students. Welcome back on our last unit of Hello 7 this year, Unit 16. The poem is called If. Actually, this unit is about a poem by Rudyard Kipling, an Indian poet, and I'm going to read the poem for you because it is one of my favorite poems and it teaches a lot of moral lessons. If If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count on you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, your is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. And now, after finishing this lovely poem, let's move to the vocabulary. I'm going to leave this for you for 1 minute in order to try to read it at home. These are all the words mentioned in the poem. I read it for you. And here is the important definition I'm going to start with. Grow up, develop from being a child to being an adult. Inspiring, making someone want to do or achieve something. Unforgiving, difficult or not kind. Worth, the amount that could be produced in that time. Bear, bravely accept or deal with a painful or difficult situation. Make up your head, remain calm in a difficult situation. Lose your head, don't remain calm in a difficult situation. Make allowances for, consider someone's behavior in a kind way because they have a problem or disadvantage. Virtue, a good moral quality that someone has. Aim, what you are hoping to achieve. Foe, enemy, worn out, damaged because it has been used so much. Imposter, someone who pretends to be someone else. And now to some important prepositions and expressions mentioned in the text. Grow up, think of, hear of, work for, keep your head, blame for, blame on. What's the difference between blame for and blame on? I mentioned it before. Blame someone for something, but blame something on someone. Lose your head means lose your temper, become very nervous. Deal with somebody, but deal in something. Give way to means allow. Come and touch, to be friendly with someone. Consist of, dream of. Find out about means discover. Lie to someone, to tell lies. It's now for practice. As you know, the Jungle Book is a very famous cartoon movie, I think, for the kids, and it's a famous book too. It's a story about a boy who up in the jungle, who grows up in the jungle. Very good. I have heard of it, but I haven't seen it. I have heard of it. The Jungle Book is what? is a really good story, a really good story, yes, like a very good story. The Jungle Book was written by an English writer called Rudyard Kipling. I liked the film so much that I decided to read a book about the author. He wrote children's books for kids and poems. He became the of the school newspaper. He became the editor of the school newspaper. Would you prefer to live in a big city or to live in the countryside? The family decided to return to England. I want to do, think with me, to do good or to do well. Of course, it's to do well at everything. The poem Rudyard wrote was very inspiring, give you ideas. It talks about 17 years. It takes, sorry, about 17 years for an elephant to grow up. Life in the desert can be very. It is often extremely hot and dry, so it is very. This sentence is wrong. It's very. I think it's very extreme or very difficult. Each year, the teacher puts a year's worth of paper in the classroom cupboard, a year's worth of paper. We all wanted to climb a mountain after the mountaineer talk. It is very what? It is very motivating. It is very motivating or inspiring. So the answer is inspiring. I don't think that I will finish watching that film. It is very boring. So that's why you're going to stop watching it. Young men often take young men often take a lot off from watching athletes in the Olympics. They take a lot of inspiration. Fatima is a very what person. She is very unhappy with people for very long, so she is very unforgiving person. This man is boring, so I can't bear him any longer. Bear this one. If you are in a tight corner, you should keep your head. You should keep your head. Tight corner, you are in troubles. So you should keep your head. You should be calm. And I'm going to leave the rest for you to check and answer after looking back at the text. Of course, you can pause the screen at any time and answer it quietly at home. And now it's time for grammar. And of course, as I said before, this is the last unit. So I promise you it will be a very easy grammar lesson. And you have studied it before at the A-level course, I think. It's about participle clauses. By the word participle, I mean the ending of a verb or a noun. A participle is the ending of a verb or a noun. The first participle clause we're going to start with is clauses which comes after as, when, or and. We use participle clauses, I mean the ing form, instead of clauses starting with or with as or when. Look at this example. Let's start with this part. When the man was driving, he saw an accident. When the man was driving, he saw an accident. Will be driving into town. Driving instead of he was driving. Driving into town, the man saw an accident. Why? Because this is the clause after when, as we said here, with as, when, or and. We start with the verb plus the ing form instead of the rest of the sentence. The second one, walking to the town yesterday, Sarah saw two of her school friends. As Sarah was walking into town, so it will be walking into town. We omitted, we removed Sarah, and we said walking into town directly. Arriving home late, they found that the door was locked. It could be when they arrived home late. When they arrived home late. So we removed when and they and arrived, and we said arriving home late. The car crashed into a garden, knocking down a tree. The car crashed into a garden and knocked down a tree. So here, The clause which comes after and is used here as the participle clause here, knocking down a tree, not and knock down a tree. We say knocking down a tree. Growing up in India, he developed a love of the markets and the Indian people. Instead of saying as he grew up in India, we said growing up in India. I hope you have understood the first rule. And now let's move to the second one, which is using participle clauses instead of clauses starting with and this time. Not with as, when, or and only, but with and this time. The bird flew away making a very loud noise. Making a very loud noise. The sentence read, the bird flew away and made. Instead of saying and made, we remove the and we use made like this way, making a very loud noise. He worked for a local newspaper, often thinking of stories in the evening. It was, and he thought of stories in the evening. So we removed and thought became thinking. The subject of the participle clause must be the same as the subject of the main clause. Yes, actually this is a very important point we should concentrate on. Look here, hearing the phone rang, I picked it up. The subject of this clause was I heard the phone rang and I picked it up. So the subject is I, so we are on the right track. Hearing the phone rang, I picked it up. The subject here was the same here, so we can use participle clause at the beginning of the sentence. More examples to read. Writing stories and poems for adults and children, he became very successful. Reading the poem, you feel that you want to do well at everything. Waking up very early, Mike decided to go for a walk in the hills. Reaching the top of the hill, he was amazed by the wonderful view. Taking out his notebook, he began to write a poem. Continuing his writing, Mike didn't notice the black clouds. Feeling the first drops of rain, he began to run back down the hill. Arriving at his front door, Mike discovered that he had forgotten to take his key with him. Now let's move to grammar 2, which is longer adjectives. When we use longer phrases as adjectives before a noun, we add a hyphen. A hyphen is something like a dash, Worn out tools. Worn out means they are damaged or they cannot be used any longer. A 5-year-old girl. Look, this is a hyphen. It's like the dash here in between. We don't say 5 years old girl, we say a 5-year-old girl. A 2.5 meter long pole. Pole, something like a tall building or something like a tall mast of a ship. It is a friendly looking horse. I live in a 10-year-old house. They are easy to remember rules. He is a cheerful looking man. I have a 4-meter long ladder. They are difficult to forget people. Now, let's move to the exercise. On unit 16, of course, I always enjoy, swimming. I enjoy swimming. Number 2, his diary. He discovered that he had 3 meetings. So it will be checking his diary. Number 3, the station late. She missed her train. It will be reaching the station late. You should give up what? Give up smoking. Yes, you are right. 5, don't interfere in my affairs because I hate your interfering. Reading is fun, but I don't always practice it. And here is an exam on unit 16, the last unit, as I said. I hope you can answer it at home, and I'm going to go through it. It consists of some MCQ questions, a comprehension passage. As I said, you can stop it at any time and go back or forward freely. Comprehension passage. Then a paragraph. A paragraph is about forgiveness or your aim in life. Again, they are topics related to the title of this unit, the poem If. Translation. What about doing some translation together? Yes. Hurry up. Science can help us improve health. food production and nearly every aspect of our lives. يمكن للعلم أن يساعدنا على تحسين الصحة، إنتاج الغذاء، وتقريبا كل نواحي الحياة، كل جوانب أو نواحي الحياة. Modern science has created new problems. العلم الحديث أو العلوم الحديثة خلقت مشاكل جديدة، مثل الاحتباس الحراري أو الاحترار الكوني زي ما قلت لكم قبل كده، and environmental pollution والتلوث البيئي. Now let's translate from Arabic into English. لابد من بذل المزيد من الجهود. It is necessary to exert more efforts to protect animals or protect wild animals which are endangered. يحاول العلماء إنتاج سلالات جديدة من النباتات. Scientists are trying to develop or produce new species of plants by using genetic engineering. Thank you very much for today's session. I hope you would study it by heart and enjoy the rest of the sessions.